Salutations YouTube, what's going on? Checking in here, straight six van in my garage. I typically record on Sunday, but we're gonna do this basically. Let's see, it's 11:30 here on Saturday evening, and reason why I'm doing this, first off I want to get you guys regularly scheduled programming, right? So I'm trying to be consistent with the Sunday thing. But Sunday's primarily my day that I do my hobby work, work on the go-kart. So I've got a big work day tomorrow on the go-kart. I got a lot of ground to cover because a couple of reasons. One, my deadline's Memorial Day, and we are now right under a month till we get to Memorial Day. And some buddies of mine, we've been doing this camping thing every Memorial Day ever since we were seniors in high school, and now that's been 12 years ago now. So, and all my friends have always had four-wheelers or dirt bikes, mini bikes, and these things like that. And, I've just always been the guy who's mooched off of them and rode them when they let me. And so finally I came up with the crazy idea for the Rat Rod Radio Flyer. One, just to fabricate, have fun, but specifically for this event. And so all I have right now is motor, frame, and a couple parts. So I need to get going on this thing. So tomorrow I plan on doing a lot of work, and there's one other reason too. I kind of got to take one step back. Did two steps forward last week, which was a pretty productive week, I think. I found a nice sweet spot, I think, in just trying to get myself out in the garage and work for like 45 minutes. It's long enough to get something decent done. I cut out a lot of the cross members for my frame last week, and just kind of limited myself to that, so I didn't upset the wife too much. But I think it found a nice little compromise there. But the other big thing is I had a huge parts haul last week. I got the axle shaft for the back axle, so slid on the jack shafts here. Greg helped me confirm these guys don't move like some of you guys put in the comments. They just look like poor castings, so they kind of they're not straight. So that's kind of disappointing, but I think I can overcome that. But yeah, one of the steps I got to take back is on the frame, the way I notched it. I kind of did a dry layout, put this guy up underneath there, kind of put the wheels centered on the axle, and I just didn't like the stance. It just wasn't low enough, I think, to really give the rat rod feel that I want. So I bust out the old grinder and bust through some welds there, and re-weld some stuff. But I actually can't figure out right now if I want to put the pillow blocks like this on top of the frame or notch it really seriously and go like that. But regardless, today I went out and bought me a hole saw, because I'm gonna be sawing through or drilling, I guess you will, through the side of the wagon itself, and the axle will actually go through the sidewall of the radio flyer. So I try not to cuss on these videos, but in hot rodding terms, I think that's the only way to make this thing look bitchin'. That's one of my big tasks tomorrow. So hopefully I can get that separated, think through it, see if I want the pillow blocks up or down. If I do the super notch and pillow blocks down, that'll give me, I think, more options, seat options, for the floor of the wagon. If I go pillow blocks up, I think I'm going to have to get a little more crafty with the seat option, and probably won't be using the wood in that scenario for sure. But other updates, I want to give a huge shout out to my coworker Greg's Garage, if you aren't familiar. And if you aren't following him already, please follow him. Super funny guy. He certainly has it figured out a lot better. How to be more entertaining as a one-man show on camera. I'm still struggling with that, but huge shout out to Greg for letting me come over and use his bandsaw and plasma cutter. It just totally. Oh man, I'm out of order. I had one other parts haul this week, and But yeah, huge shout out to Greg. Sorry, I'm falling into the ADD world here. But the other big purchase I had this week, it was kind of on a whim. I purchased it. I've been trying to think. I really want to put another level of detail into this thing to really pull off the whole hot rod rat rod vibe. And one of the things I felt like for the wheel tire combo was certainly hubcaps. And so I was just trying to think through, okay, what's a good scale? What's a good product to use to make a hubcap? And I came up with the idea of like a gas tank cap. So I got on eBay and I found a guy selling these pre-1982 Harley Davidson gas tank caps, chrome gas tank caps. And he just so happened to have 4 of them for sale. And I usually don't do this, but I just, because he had 4, I was like, and they seemed like a decent price. I pulled the trigger, and I really didn't have a thought of how I was gonna connect them to the wheel. I was like, now I've got to find. And I was actually planning on this week lobbing this out to you guys for some ideas of how to would I then need gas tank bungs to weld onto the wheels so then I can screw these gas tank caps on, It was kind of like, I figured worst case scenario, if I couldn't come up with an idea easy enough to put these things on, I could probably sell them again on eBay and get my money back. I was thinking about it, and then just kind of dawned on me that, maybe I was making it harder than it needed to be. And so I came up with what I thought was a pretty easy solution to pulling these off as hubcaps. So I recorded some footage here a little bit earlier. I'll drop that in here. So I was sitting there looking at the gas cap compared to my 2-piece wagon wheels. And it just kind of dawned on me, it's like, well, maybe I'm making this harder than it needs to be. And the back of the gas caps, of course, have the 2 little prongs here. And I was looking at the diameter of this, started comparing it to the diameter of the hub, and it's like, well, shoot, can that just fit through the back side? Which it does, nice and snug. And then all I have to do, sandwich the second part on it. And when I feed the bolts through, I'll just cinch it down on top of those flanges, and voila. Doesn't need to be any harder than that. But there you are. Hubcap on the wheel. So yeah, I'm pretty excited how that worked out. I think that's going to be pretty sweet. I don't know why it's got to be any harder than that. So I think it'll be pretty cool. Once again, huge shout out to Greg letting me come over, use the plasma cutter, cut out the bearings on the back side of the wheels, at least the rear wheels. I'm keeping the front wheels as is. The more and more I looked at it, that other wagon that I have in the backyard, it's like coated in, it's got like a plastic coating in it. And the plastic coating's all cracked and it's coming apart. And I thought, you know what, this thing is going to probably be junk in 3-4 years anyway. So just as well stay out in front of it and just disassemble it now and make some use out of the good parts. So I went ahead and decided we're going to move forward with the wheels on that thing. I have an idea of how to make a hub for the back of this because most go-kart hubs are 4-bolt pattern or 3-bolt pattern. You can see I've got 5. But the other giant shout out I want to give this week is some congratulations, some celebratory props to my brother Jared, who got his 1977 Chevy Nova fired up for the first time in I don't know how long. And I'm really happy for him. Just first of all, I credit my brother Jared, older brother Jared, 2 years older than me. He's the one who probably got me hooked on just being a car guy. He and I kind of entered the car guy scene when my memory serves me right. He was probably an 8th grader with a 1996 subscription to Hot Rod magazine is how we entered that world. And that was his subscription. I think I subscribed shortly later to Peterson's 4-wheel drive and off-road, and then CarCraft eventually. But Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was Eddie Winslow fixing up an old police car on an episode of Family Matters that was the original inspiration, but I think we always had this dream of for our first high school car, we would have worked on some cool old car before we were able to drive, and then when we were able to drive, it would be done, but that never happened. But I still remember driving to school or something. I still, well, at least I remember the house and the highway that car was for sale at, and I remember driving by and my brother Jared pointing it out and being like, "That's kind of a cool looking car. That's a little different year Nova. Wouldn't that be awesome?" And I sort of inside was like really stoked and excited for him and pumped because I like things a little bit off the beaten path just because nothing against 69 Camaros, great cars, but you see them at every car show. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome because it's so much, it's more unique. Nobody has that. But the previous owners had repainted it, rebuilt or put in a new crate motor or something like that, and it had it, but it was like seven. That work was like 7 years old or something, and the paint job was like even older, I think. But it was in pretty good shape when we bought it. But it just wound up being just in disrepute. It only got worse. It was like starting to be on the decline of uh, of a rebuild, and so unfortunately for my brother, started getting a little cancer in the back panels of the car, a little rust, and it just kept getting in worse and worse shape. But it was his high school car, so he's had this thing since I want to say like year 2000, so 15 years now. And drove to college, and my brother's got an interesting college career story, and I won't get into that, but he basically went to school in some way, shape, or form for about 22 years of his life. He finished up getting a master's degree in industrial engineering. Just it would have been December of 2013, I think, if I got that right. Maybe he can leave a comment down in the comments to correct me if I'm wrong. But along the way, of course, he got married, and then he actually has two sets of twin girls, and so life got in the way. And he's always wanted to have a project car just like me. Always wanted to dump a lot of energy into this Nova. And so to sort of congratulate him on his completion of his final year of school, we had all pitched in together as a family and kind of doubled up. It was like a graduation, birthday, anniversary gift, or I don't really remember. Me and my younger brother, and then my parents, and we got him a heavy duty sway bar because my brother is. I know his ultimate dreams for that car is probably like a LS engine, 6-speed transmission, and just suspension out the wazoo to be a pro touring car. Maybe like some 17, 18s on it. So wanted to sort of, because school was finally over and he could justify spending money on a vehicle again, and we wanted to help kickstart that process so he could work on the car. But needless to say, that got put off another year. So tonight I got the text message that he got the thing fired up for the first time in a long time. So congratulations to you, Jared. I'm happy for you. Glad to see the dreams finally starting, and I just couldn't be any more happy for you. I don't know if he got to drive around the block or what. I don't know if he just fired it up to let it sit and idle. He had to put a new starter on it, but he said it just would crank and crank and crank. So he cleaned out the carb and got it fired up. So I don't know anymore at this moment, but congrats to him. I'm just really excited for him. So, but hey, I'm gonna shut things down so I can get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow, go to church, work out a little bit, then hopefully, hopefully turn those tack welds on the frame into real welds. Figure out if I want to do the super notch or just the flipped pillow block, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe I'll give you guys another video this week. But till next time, peace out.